Well, right now on In the Loop, we are joined with Alexi of Edaville USA. She's a member of the marketing team up there. Hello and welcome to In the Loop.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem, and we wanted to have you guys on the show because you've got a big expansion coming for you with the whole Thomastown thing. But I would say before we get into that, there's a lot of people such as myself who had prior to this year never even heard of Edaville USA. Could you tell us a little bit about the park itself and its history?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually celebrating our 70th anniversary of Edaville USA this year, which is definitely really cool because it's also the 70th birthday for Thomas. So kind of cool that we get to open this year. A little history about the park. It actually started as cranberry bogs. We're up in cranberry country here, all this part of Massachusetts. It's bogs everywhere you go. All the ocean spray, cranberry juice that we know and love comes right from over here. So he had a train, LSD Atwood, so that's where EDA, Edaville, comes from. He had a train that went through the bogs. He charged a nickel a ride. And after that, it just became a staple in New England. Every Christmas, we do a big display. We have over 7 million lights all throughout the park. That's always been a big tradition, a New England tradition. And we just keep adding and adding. So I remember going as a kid, it was just, the train and the Ferris wheel. And now here I am working here, and we have close to 20 rides and essentially doubling in size with Thomasland. So definitely a lot going on at the park. It's been around for years and years, and people's parents and grandparents always tell me, oh, you work at Edaville? And they all have a story about when they used to go when they were kids. So we consider ourselves a New England tradition, especially around Christmas time.
Very, very cool. It's interesting because I'm from the Northeast myself on Long Island in New York, but I never got far enough north that or didn't have family far enough north that I knew about Edaville. I mean, I've heard of some of the bigger parks up there. Obviously, been to Six Flags and places like that, but I never heard of you guys. And obviously, you've been around for forever. And has it been developing to a more larger scale amusement park more recently, or is this something that's happened over 20, 30 years?
It's definitely more recent. Our current owner knew that he had to keep adding if we wanted to stay afloat. There was a brief period of time a few years ago where he was thinking of selling it, and the right offer never came around. He knew that if he sold it to certain people, it might get torn down, and that's not anything anyone wanted to see. So he started developing and putting more and more rides. Just this year alone, we added 5 more. So it's definitely a newer development where we're adding the rides. And Edaville itself will be known as the Edaville part of Edaville, where Thomasland is going to be a little separate. It's very vintage carnival themed. We have the Ferris wheel and the carousel. We have Jumbo, which is a lot like the Dumbo ride at Disney. We have a lot of rides like that, geared towards younger children, but definitely fun for everyone. I'm a big Tilt-A-Whirl fan. I can only go on it once before I start falling over, but that's the kind of ride that we would have.
Very cool. Now, before we get to the Thomasland, the one ride I had to talk about just because it seems so unique, and as a guy that travels all across the country going to different theme parks, I don't think I've ever seen a ride like the Astronaut. Could you try to explain that one to our listeners?
It is definitely hard to explain. It's a ride kind of like the Jumbo ride where you spin around and you go up and down, but you're inside like a spaceship almost. That's why it's called Astronaut, and you get to start spinning and control yourself, go up all the way at a really high angle. I think a higher angle than most of our rides, and go back down. And in the pod, kind of reminds me of being in a teacup, but it's enclosed. It's a little hard to explain, actually, now that I think about it.
It kind of seems like Dumbo meets Apollo 13.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you get pretty high in that one too. It gives you a good view of the park, and it's right by Dinoland, so you can kind of start to see some of our dinosaurs over the trees.
Very cool. And that was the last thing I wanted to touch on before we moved on to Thomasland, was talk about Dino Land.
Yeah. Dinoland is my absolute favorite part of the park. I go all the time, just, by myself. The other day, they're like, oh, we need some pictures in Dinoland. I was gone for like an hour and a half. took 150 pictures of just every dinosaur from every angle. We have 23 animatronic dinosaurs. They're life-size, so we have everything from a young Stegosaurus to a T-Rex that's about 60 feet tall. They all move around. They all roar at you. It's, it can be a little bit scary for some of our younger guests, but it's really, really cool, especially that they're animated like that.
Alrighty, and then of course the reason we have you on the show is that this year you guys are expanding in a large-scale fashion with the Thomas Land expansion. Now, how long has this project been in the works? Because it seems something that looks to be almost doubling the size of your park.
Yeah, it's been in the works, for over a year now. The big announcement actually came the day before I was hired. So, and I've been there for about a year and a month. So obviously it's been in the works a lot longer than that, probably closer to 2-3 years. But we are the first Thomas Land in North America. If my memory serves me correct, we're going to be the only one in this hemisphere, actually. There's one in Japan and one in the UK. We'll be the biggest one, and we're just really getting geared up for a big, big arrival with this park.
Okay, now explain what it's going to be like to go for an afternoon at Thomas Land. Obviously, it's something targeted for the younger demographic. But what are we going to see in Thomas Land? What kind of theming? What kind of rides? What kind of experience will the guests be having?
It's definitely really unique, where every ride is a character. So it's not like you're just going on a roller coaster that's based off of a character. You're going to get to take a ride on that character, which I think is really unique compared to a lot of different parks. For example, Birdie Bus, you're going to all aboard on Birdie Bus, excuse me. You're going to get all aboard on Birdie Bus, and you're going to get to ride him. He is the ride. So that's definitely really unique about the ride experience down in Thomas Land. But like I said, it's 11 brand new rides, including the Troublesome Trucks Runaway Coaster, which is the biggest ride we have in the park and is our second roller coaster. So that's the thing that I'm most excited for. I love big rides like that. We also have Firefighting Flynn. We have a Ferris wheel on Sodor Mill, and all kinds of rides that can't even come to my mind right now. But another unique ride we have is Winston Skyline Express, and you'll get to ride above the park and get a bird's eye view of everything. So, again, really, really excited. A lot of rides coming in.
Very, very cool. Now, I have to ask, because so many of our fans are these hardcore roller coaster super nerds, so on behalf of them, I have to ask if the adults can ride the roller coasters in your park.
Yeah, absolutely. Our height restrictions will be listed online. We have to get cleared with the state and everything, get everything inspected. But a majority of our rides are for all ages. If some people might be too short or have to ride with an adult, but it will be for grown-ups too. If not, I quit. So.
All right.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I won't tell your boss.
Yeah, please don't.
All right. Now, obviously, it's a Thomas Land. There has to be some sort of a large-scale Thomas ride, correct?
Oh, yeah. So our railway is actually really unique. It's a narrow gauge railway. They're pretty hard to come by. If you think of railroad tracks, they'd probably be 4 or 5 feet wide. Ours is only 2 feet wide. So our train has always been the reason people come to our park. Back in the day, like I mentioned before, it was just a train ride, and it cost a nickel a pop. Our ticket prices have gone up a little bit since then. But Thomas will actually be pulling the train on the railway now. So Edaville Railroad will be led by Thomas. As of right now, we're open weekends still. It's just our diesel engine. In the winter, we'll run steam, but it will be Thomas on the railway. So that's our large ride based around him.
All right, good stuff. Now, where are you guys at on the construction process, and when will Thomas Land be opening?
So Thomas Land will be open on August 15th. As far as construction goes, it blows my mind every day. For this morning, I drove in, and there was a building without a roof, and this afternoon when I walked out and got in my car, there was a roof. So it's happening so fast. We have a ton of really great guys working out there, guys and gals, working as fast as they can and making sure everything's up to par, everything looks amazing, and it's like a storybook out there every time you walk out. It's like being put right on the island of Sodor.
All right, very, very cool. Now, for all of our listeners out there that are planning on visiting once Thomas Land opens, are you guys just going to be, I'm guessing, weekends only for the rest of the year, or are you going to do some daily operation or all weekends?
We will go daily operation once Thomas Land is open. Right now we're just weekends because we want to make sure everyone's safe with the construction. We don't want any visitors kind of wandering off. So we're going to be open 7 days a week starting August 15th. And that'll carry on all the way through the month of October. We do close for a couple of weeks at the beginning of November so that we can set up for Christmas. Like I said, there's 7 million lights. It's not an easy task, so it does take some time. And once all those lights are up and going, we open again right before Thanksgiving, and we'll be open all the way through January 1st at that. So we close for 2 days during our Festival of Lights, and that is Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day, and that's because you can't pull me away from my kitchen table. So other than that, we're open 7 days a week.
Very, very cool. And actually, I mean, you guys should be really proud. We talk to theme parks all the time, and 7 million is a very, very high number for lights. A lot of the parks we talk to have 1 million, 4 million, 5 million, but 7 million has to be one of the higher ones.
Yeah, I mean, there are lights all around our track, so our track goes a very long way. And there's something, they do all kinds of shapes. So it's not just lights and trees. We have animals and all kinds of different figures, and they move around. It's definitely a sight. If anyone's up in the area, during Christmas time, it's one of the more fun things to do around.
Very
but
cool.
I'm biased.
And for people that are planning on visiting the park, how much is it to get into Edaville or Thomas Land?
So once Thomas Land opens, our ticket prices will be $29 per person. Children under 2 are free. And that includes everything, all unlimited use of all of our rides, Dino Land, Thomas Land, a ride on the train, everything except for your food and your souvenirs, and our arcade as well.
All right. Well, Alexi, I want to thank you very much for coming on In the Loop here. You guys got a month to finish up before the big opening. We wish you the best of luck. And,
thank you so much.
Well, once the park does open up, we'll have to send somebody up to Massachusetts to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. We'd love to have all your fans up and riding our brand new coaster.
Absolutely. All right, Alexi, thank you very much.